The heat is on in the sewing room. If you want to know what I'm talking about, please stay tuned. Hello guys, this is episode 2 of a series that I'm doing called The Heat is On. What am I talking about? I'm going over my collection of irons that I have in my sewing room, and I'm sharing them with you. You may be in the market for an iron, or you just may be interested to see my collection. Whatever the reason, I'm glad you tuned in. So I would like to talk about the importance of the iron in the sewing room. It is probably one of the most essential tools that you need in your sewing room. I don't care who says what, you need an iron. You do not have to have the irons that I am talking about, but you need an iron that you feel is dependable enough to iron the fabric that you are working with. In the sewing room, you need an iron that says seams, but be careful with the iron as well. Another tip that I would like to give you is, especially if you're not sure about what temperature to use or how to iron the particular fabric that you have, take a little piece, use the different settings from the iron on a separate little piece away from your main fabric to see what setting your iron needs for this particular garment or fabric. So that's something that you might want to take into consideration when you're actually looking for iron. How suitable is it going to be for the different types of fabrics that you're going to be using? So this iron that I'm sharing with you today is probably my top favorite of all the irons that I have in my collection. This is the Reliable iron. It is the Reliable iron in the Velocity series. Now they have I have a few notes, guys. They have, I think, three different models in the Velocity series. They have a 180, a 240, and a 270. So they have different features, but this is the 270. So this is the top of the line for the Velocity series. This iron retails for about $229. This was a gift to me. However, if you have $229 in your budget, I highly recommend that you purchase this. This is a great iron for any sewing room. I haven't had any issues with anything sticking. It hasn't melted. It's been awesome. The steam that comes out of here is just one of a kind, and I can't express how well it does in the sewing room. Now, if you remember last week, I told you I had an iron that I use distilled water in. That would be this iron. I normally use distilled water in this iron only. If I really need to use this iron and I'm out, I will use fancy tap water, also known as bottled water. It has nice settings on here, easy to use settings. You have the little steam button in case you need to use it for extra steam. It's easy to fill. Just a flip top up here and flip it for the water. Now I'm going to plug this in, and I'm going to show you how it irons. And I just have a little cotton fabric with me right now. I don't have like a variety of fabrics. I probably should have got some denim, but I don't have it with me right now. But I'm going to show you how well it does on the cotton. So here's my bottled water just in case. It has some water in here, and I think it's going to be enough for us to do our demonstration. So I'm not going to worry about it. I don't use any fancy brand water. I just get distilled water or any bottled water I have on hand. So if you paid attention to my last week video, I told you that I was going to be making something out of men's dress shirts. So I've taken the dress shirts apart, but before I start cutting out my pattern pieces, I would like to iron the pieces out. So let me see if I can get on this side and you can actually see how wrinkled it is. You can see the wrinkles on here, very wrinkled. So now I have this set on the very high for my steam to come out. You can hear that great steam action. But come a little closer, let's see what it does. All right. I feel like this is the thinner of the shirts. So I'll just press this one a little bit so you can see the difference. And a quick tip, if you didn't know, there is a difference between ironing and pressing. You'll need to do both in the sewing room. But in the sewing room, when you're ironing, this is ironing. I'm actually gliding the iron over the fabric. But say I wanted to maybe set a seam, I could press this like this. Fold this over, I'm sorry. And just press it down. And that will be considered pressing. But right now I wanted to just show you how well this iron gets these wrinkles out. Okay. I don't know if you can see how well that's ironed versus here. And this one is a little thicker, so let's see if we can see the difference in this one. Can you? I hope you can see the wrinkles. So I'll iron on this side. There you go. You can see there's no wrinkles over here. Just nice, crisp, clean fabric versus the wrinkled fabric on this side. So the reliable iron has a safety feature as well, like the Aliso. The reliable iron, it cuts off in about 8 minutes of inactivity. And like I say, it has a variety of settings for the heat levels, which is great for like different fabrics, different types of fabrics. In my opinion, the con with this iron, if there's a con, it would be because it used so much steam, I am putting water in there constantly. But for what it does, I don't mind. And the price point is one of the more pricier price points for just a regular iron. However, it is, it says it's a vapor generator and it just does the job. And like I say, this has to be my favorite iron out of my collection. I actually should have started with this one first because I would have liked for the price to go down. But this is the most expensive iron that I do own. Like I say, just a small recap. This is the reliable iron from Velocity. You hear that? This particular, the 270 model is red and white. The other models, I think is a blue and white, and then the other one's kind of like a slate gray and white. They all don't have the same exact features, which hence would make the different models. I have also used this iron to iron pieces of my patterns. Sometimes I iron my patterns out if they have plenty of wrinkles. I'll use this to iron them out. It just takes a quick press. I usually turn the steam off and just press over it. But you can see it knocks those lines out of there, and it just gives you a flatter pattern piece to work with. So I have used it for that. But I try not to use it for anything else. Like today I do have on this linen dress that I did have to iron this morning. Had I This probably would be like one of the items I would take and use my iron for. But the household iron is doing its job, so I didn't need it. But this is a great iron, guys. I tell you, I highly recommend this iron. If you have it in your budget, you do not have to have an expensive iron to have an iron in your sewing room. Just a regular domestic iron will do. It is just one of those things where I have several different irons. That's my thing. And sometimes I use them for different reasons. And this one, I really use this when I'm working with a cotton fabric or something that needs a good pressing. I usually almost always go to this iron right here. It is great for me making my bias binding. One of the cons from the Oliso iron was they'll like to make the bias binding and put the iron down and just pull the bias binding through. With the Oliso, you can't do that because you have to have your hand on the iron for it to be engaged so you can iron. And this one, it doesn't. So I do get to do the little bias binding creation with this. But with all that said and done, let's just do a recap. Last week we went over the Oliso iron. I have the pink and white one. It comes in a yellow, I think a turquoise, and a purple. There is a Mimi G one that has like a leopard print and brown and tan. Not sure if I'm not sure if they have the same features. So you would have to research it yourself. But she does have one. It is so pretty. It has an automatic shut off. I give that one a 9 out of 10. I love it. I love the safety feature. And I highly recommend that, especially if you have little people in your house who are curious and who may be touching the iron or somewhere they don't have to be. It just has that safety feature. I think when it drops, it immediately cuts off in 30 seconds. Whereas this is a reliable iron. Like I say, it is a 10 out of 10 for me for the steam factor, for those hard to get the wrinkle out materials. I love this iron. However, the safety shut off on this is 8 minutes. So it will take you a little bit more time to get that safety going on. What you see, it reacts to the touch as well. So I'm touching the handle right now. So it does react to the handle, to you touching the handle, so it knows that we are about to iron. So that is all I have for you today on The Heat Is On. I hope that you are enjoying the series. In the comments below, share with me if you feel like the $200 range is a bit much for an iron. I'd like to hear what you have to say. As always, guys, I want you to know that you are so special to me. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye-bye.